France, 1858. A land between progress and shadow. The railway had just begun to thread through the countryside, carrying city dreams into sleepy villages. But in the quiet hills around Lyon, something darker walked the cobblestones, something that smiled when it shouldn't. The first time people noticed him, he looked harmless. Martin Dumollard, a laborer with mud on his boots, eyes the color of river stone, and a voice as plain as bread. He would linger near train stations, market corners, and cheap lodging houses where young servant girls gathered looking for work. He would ask softly, "You are looking for a place, mademoiselle? My master's house needs good hands. It's only a short walk, just beyond the woods." To a weary girl, hungry and far from home, his offer sounded like rescue. They followed him. Night fell quickly in those parts. The trees pressed close, thick and old. The road turned from stone to dirt, then to silence. He would walk a few steps ahead, always humming something tuneless. The girls often said nothing, not out of trust, but because fear had no name until it was too late. Then came a sudden noise, a whisper. The world narrowed to breath, to struggle, to nothing. Only Dumollard came back down the road. By 1860, rumors moved faster than carriages. Women spoke of maids who vanished after taking work from a man with a quiet face. The gendarmes shrugged at first. Servants ran off all the time, didn't they? But then one of the girls escaped. Torn dress, bleeding, delirious. She told them about the man who had taken her into the woods, promising wages, promising kindness, and turning on her with animal rage. The police searched the countryside for days. At Dumollard's home, they found rags, blood, bones, and a shallow pit behind his cottage. He never denied what he'd done. He simply said, "They followed me." It was easy. In his cell at Montluel prison, Martin spoke often, but never with remorse. He talked about hunger, about poverty, about collecting women as if they were stray birds. His voice was calm, his hands steady. Psychiatrists of the time, before there was even a word for psychopath, wrote that he had no conscience, no imagination of guilt. He didn't think of himself as cruel. He thought of himself as inevitable. On a gray morning in March 1862, the townspeople gathered in silence. The wooden scaffold stood in the square, the blade glinting wet from rain. Dumollard looked at the crowd and smiled faintly, not in defiance, but in confusion, as if he couldn't understand why they were there for him. The priest whispered a final prayer. The blade fell, and France exhaled. Yet long after his death, stories of the Maid Killer lingered. Mothers warned their daughters not to trust strange men, and in the forests near Lyon, locals still claimed that at dusk, when fog hung low, you could hear a man's soft humming fade into the trees.